So, we're in Brooklyn. Camera's shaking because I'm using my iPhone. But it's the warmest day it's going to be warm for a long time. So we're going to go check the urban bees over my buddy Brian's house. I don't know if they're alive or not because it got really cold here. And that's a little unusual because we're surrounded by so much cement here. It's kind of a big heat sink. So in the winter, it doesn't get quite nearly as cold in Brooklyn because of all the cement that it does in the surrounding area or upstate where the other bees are. So here's our challenge. Let's go see.
Make, fix, grow, cook. GardenFork.
So I grabbed, this is a 4-pound dry sugar. This would be some emergency feed if they are alive. And if they haven't used the dry sugar we have on the top already, then this will go on the top. I just need to snag a piece of newspaper. That shouldn't be too hard in New York City. But again, more cement, big heat sink. Big park right up there. That's Sunset Park. So this is Greenwood Cemetery. It is 500 acres of tombstones and essentially a botanic garden. And it's a great place for bee foraging because our bees are right down the road there across the street. So this hive has our usual styrofoam on the polystyrene on the outside with a insulated inner outer cover rig. I have a simpler version of that now, but I already built these so I still use them. But it's 50 degrees here. It stopped raining. Someone should be out and they're not. So we're just gonna pop the top and see what's going on here. This has 1 deep and 3 mediums on it. I left it full of honey, and there's sugar on the top of that, partly as emergency feed and partly as a moisture absorber. There you go. So our sugar is untouched. You don't want this hive to be open for very long. We're going to look down. It's kind of hard to see anything. This hive crashed last year in the fall, so I basically knocked all the bees out of it, and then I put wire screening in the top and the bottom here, secured them, and that's how I store it for winter. The biggest problem with a dead hive in the fall is wax moths. When a healthy hive is healthy, they will keep the wax moth population in a hive at bay. They pick them out, they take them out. But when a hive starts to weaken, the wax moths can get the upper hand. And I have a video about a new organic spray. I'll link to that in the show notes below and at the end of the video here. But this died, and I was like, well, it's going to freeze soon enough, so I just wrapped the thing tight and left it. It's really actually a pretty easy way to store honeycomb in the winter, is let it freeze on the outside instead of having a freezer in your basement. And this organic spray, if the link doesn't show up at the end of the show, it'll be in the show notes below. It is really warm up here. This is a silver painted roof. I've got a bright sun there. Why aren't the bees flying? because bees don't read books. This hive could very well be alive. I'm reluctant to break open the supers. You know, if they're clustered and they don't want to be disturbed, I'm going to leave them alone. It might be that the cluster is colder than the outside air here, because it takes a while for the hive to warm up again. There were 2 bees flying around here, taking up some water. You could see the one who's just going along the side of the hive, but then she took off, and oriented and took off. So I know there are other beehives around here. Would other hives have their bees going that far out? I'm not sure. I've been standing around. I haven't seen them go into the entrance there. But who knows? So this can drive you crazy about beekeeping, but I've kind of adopted a better attitude, and like, you won't know until like March. So if you're thinking about getting another package or a nuke or something, you might want to start shopping for that. Interesting article I found about buying southern nukes and pairing them with northern queens. I'll link in the show notes. You have to click the little down arrow to see more about my world on that. So, but the sun's out. If I can walk and talk, I'm happy, you know? So there should be some more beekeeping videos, more about Eric's world floating around here. And I always learn from you, so clearly I'm just an amateur, just trying to show you kind of my world. Let me know about your world, all right? Make it a great day.